Oh hey, what's up gentlemen and ladies? Happy Engineers Day to Romania. I was just sitting here reading an interview from Square Enix. You know, reading is pretty hard. Sometimes I just wish that I could have a magical voice read things out loud to me.
Did somebody say they needed something read to them?
Sakaguchi-senpai, is that you?
What? No, it's just me, God.
Oh.
But do I have the solution for you?
Boy oh boy.
Audible provides you with thousands of choices for all of your listening pleasure. No more do you need to strain your delicate eyes with tiny words when you can just have them read to you by someone else, you lazy piece of
And the best part is that you can get all of this for 30% cheaper by using our promo code at audible.com/.
Wait. I'm just kidding.
What?
You didn't actually get an Audible sponsorship. Your channel is too small and frankly crappy for that.
Oh man. So a while back, Tetsuya Nomura was interviewed by the Italian magazine Multiplayer about a few of his recent projects. For those of you that have been living under a rock, Tetsuya Nomura is the man currently responsible for Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy VII Remake, probably Square Enix's two most anticipated games in decades. Now, one thing that has always fascinated me about Tetsuya Nomura is just how little he actually talks about his projects publicly. It's very common nowadays to have developers give frequent updates on games and, you know, give players new info, which is especially hilarious when Square Enix's own Final Fantasy XV, which used to be directed by Nomura, was criticized for actually having too much in terms of progress reports and fan feedback. But despite this, Nomura always kind of kept to himself, and it was not and is still not unusual for years to go by without us hearing anything about his games. The famous example right now being, of course, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we last saw footage of back in late 2015, almost 3 years ago. But this is something that is true of all of Nomura's projects, the 7 Remake, Kingdom Hearts 3, even Final Fantasy Versus 13 back in the day, and it really seems like the entire gaming landscape has kind of just changed. It's not unusual for developers to reveal games when they know that they're close to completion so that they can announce them, build up hype, and then release them mere months later. We've seen this model of announcing games from Fallout 4 all the way to Super Mario Odyssey, all releasing less than a year before their initial reveal. So that just begs the question, in this modern gaming landscape of big reveals and quick releases, why is Square Enix still announcing games 6, 8, sometimes 10 years before they're ready to release? Well, it should be noted that more often than not, Square Enix chooses to prioritize quantity over quality. They'd rather have a lot of cool announcements one after another and bother with the actual games themselves later. And this can be observed with 3 different occasions, all of which they revealed 3 separate games in. The first actually had to do with the initial reveal of 3 mainline Final Fantasy games, these being Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, and Final Fantasy XI, all of which were revealed at the same event, one after another, which is just insane. Could you guys picture going to like E3 next year and watching Sony's conference and then Square Enix just coming up and saying, hey guys, here's Final Fantasy XVI, but also here's Final Fantasy XVII and Final Fantasy XVIII. We hope you guys are looking forward to these. Please be excited. I mean, seriously, what other company does things like this? But the point that they were trying to make is that Final Fantasy IX was like this throwback Final Fantasy, very old school, like some of the older NES or Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games with, you know, classic character designs and a medieval setting, whereas Final Fantasy X was supposed to be like the next evolution in the series, featuring like full 3D environments and voice acting and everything. And Final Fantasy XI was an entirely new experience for Final Fantasy in that it was an MMO and it was actually the first FF to be online. So they had like a nice little theme going, you know, some kind of motif. I guess they thought it would be cute. Then let's get forward a couple of years to after the release of the critically acclaimed Kingdom Hearts 2. Fans are eager for Kingdom Hearts 3 and they can't wait to see what's next from the series. And in one single event, Square Enix comes out and they're all like, Kingdom Hearts fans, I hope that you are excited. We are very happy and very proud to finally, after a long wait, reveal Kingdom Hearts 3! 5-8 Days Over 2, which is a spin-off for the Nintendo DS that takes place before Kingdom Hearts 2. Yes, it is a prequel to Kingdom Hearts 2. And speaking of prequels, prequels, we're also going to be releasing a game called Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep for the PSP, which is going to be a prequel to the entire series set 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1. And to top it all off, we're also going to have a game called Kingdom Hearts Coded coming to mobile phones. Please be excited. Once again, I guess that they thought they were being clever with the little theme that they had going on, releasing one game in every major mobile system at the time, the DS, the PSP, and phones. And they even color-coded each game with a primary color, red, blue, and yellow, because, again, I guess they thought it would be cute. But where we really start to run into problems is the third time that they attempted to do something like this, and that was with the Fabula Nova Crystallis. I feel like I'm saying that name in every video at this point, but what can I say? It comes up a lot. Once again, someone at Square Enix thought that it would be clever to announce this sub-series within Final Fantasy, and instead of just announcing FF13, to announce 3 FF13s instead. And by that, I don't mean the FF13 trilogy, I mean FF13, FF Versus 13, and FF Agito 13. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and go through the entire history of why the Fabula Nova Crystallis ultimately failed as a product and almost single-handedly destroyed Square Enix, because I've already made a video talking about that, but the fact of the matter is that it's been 12 years since then, and they're still working on Final Fantasy 15, albeit after it released, but still. That really says a lot about Square Enix's development habits, which actually brings me all the way back full circle to my original point about Tetsuya Nomura. In that interview by the Multiplayer magazine, Nomura was directly asked about the company's game reveal habits and if he feels that titles like the Final Fantasy VII Remake were announced too early, and he actually had quite a few interesting points that might give us a peek into the inner workings of Square Enix and why they do things the way that they do, so I wanted to break this down kind of part by part. First of all, he said, deciding when to announce your game to the public is always difficult. I understand why some companies wait as long as possible, and I definitely think that that's a good thing for them. But in our case, we receive pressure from the fans even when we do not announce anything. They're always asking us, are you working on this? Or why don't you make a sequel for that? And even after the announcement, the situation does not change, because then they'll move on to asking, when will it release? Or when will you show a new trailer? And honestly, after being a part of this community for quite a few years as a content creator who sees all of these things firsthand, I can safely say that Nomura is 100% right about this. Not a week went by after E3 of this year where they announced the Frozen and Pirates of the Caribbean worlds for Kingdom Hearts 3 before fans started asking, oh, when are we gonna see the game again? What's the next world gonna be? How long have people been asking for Final Fantasy X-3 or The World Ends With You 2 or Parasite 4 or a sequel to Chrono Trigger, which by the way, exists, okay? It's called Chrono Cross and it was trash, so stop asking for that, please. But I mean, Square Enix always has their hands full working on so many projects, too many projects. Some might say that they spread themselves too thin, and yet people are still always asking for more. Let's continue. People are waiting for new information regardless of whether the game has been announced or not. It's great when we manage to keep it secret for as long as possible, but these days, a lot of important projects become victims of rumors and leaks. Honestly, I prefer that we officially reveal our games instead of seeing a leak or a rumor circulating online, especially when part of the development is outsourced to other companies. There's always the risk that people outside the in-house team will spread information and images online. It is even worse when during the development a fake rumor sprouts and people start to believe it and it becomes necessary to decide whether to answer or deny. Okay. I think it's pretty damn clear from the way that he was talking about this that he was directly referencing the Final Fantasy VII Remake with this one. I mean, it's true. How many people say that they've been waiting 13 years for Kingdom Hearts 3 or a remake of FF7 when in reality, these games were only announced like 4 years ago. The Final Fantasy VII Remake especially was a victim of these leaks that he was talking about. Rumors of the project had been going around for a few months before E3 2015 when the game was officially confirmed, but even just days before the event, there was full-on leaks talking about the FF7 Remake. I would know. I covered those leaks back in the day. And I cannot imagine the immense frustration that it must be to have a big reveal for the game that you've been working your ass off to prepare and that you know people have been asking for the better part of a decade, only to have the event ruined because some douchebag decided to leak the info about it online. I can definitely see where he is coming from in that aspect. Now, When he goes on about development being outsourced to other companies, I think we all low-key know that that was a direct jab at CyberConnect 2. Now, if you guys did not keep up with all of the CyberConnect 2 FF7 remake drama, I'll basically give you guys like the short version of the story. A few months back, a lot of info about the Final Fantasy VII remake was leaked, and specifically their involvement with a third-party company, CyberConnect 2, by some guy named Dan Tsukasa. Basically, Square hired CyberConnect 2 to help them develop the remake. CyberConnect 2 didn't pull their weight. A lot of stuff that they made was downright unusable. They eventually split and decided to work on the game fully internally instead of outsourcing it, and then they had to scrap like half of what they had in development for the game so far, which that alone pretty much explains why we haven't heard anything from it in so long. But CyberConnect 2 was basically proven an incompetent development team who could not get work done in time, and the fact that Square Enix decided to take a chance with them on this game and it did not pay off does not look very well, and once again makes me feel even more sympathetic towards Nomura. And speaking of, here's the final quote. The same thing happened with the remake of Final Fantasy VII. I am well aware of the fact that we announced it too early, but even in the industry, word was beginning to spread that we were working on the game, so we just decided not to keep it more secret and officially reveal it. Nomura knew that it was too early. He knew that it would not be ready anytime soon. He knew that he would reveal the game and spend the next 8 years of his life with people screaming at him, asking him when the next trailer was going to be. He was faced with a choice that day. Either ruin the experience for us or for himself. And he chose the latter. Even though he knew that he could not deliver it in time, he knew that more and more people would keep calling him an incompetent developer who can never finish anything. He knew! But he would rather us have a nice reveal for the game. Get to enjoy the trailer and be happy that we're finally getting the game that we wanted, instead of just reading a leak about it online. Wow. You know, after reading all of that and actually going through the entire history, I think I have a newfound respect for Tetsuya Nomura. I mean, honestly, like, I can't even imagine what it must be like to... Huh? Oh, it's actually you guys on Twitter letting me know that they just announced Kingdom Hearts VR experience. Are you kidding me? God damn it, Nomura. Why do I even bother? You know what? This is exactly the reason why fans hate you so much, because you can never even finish any game that you work on. Good day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you didn't not enjoy it, then please don't not consider pledging to my Patreon, because it may or may not help me out. Shout out to Planner Walk, who already pledged. And I guess either way, that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to blitz that like button, subscribe, and as always, stay tuned, Google, or something like that.